Welcome back to DSR. We got a Unearthed Arcana drop today from D&D Beyond, which is awesome. So we're going to dive right back into it. This is called the Underdark Options for August 2026, and this is going to be the House Agent Rogue subclass. Outwit your foes with charm and subterfuge. The drow houses of Menza Baranzan conspire against each other in a great game of status and sabotage that extends far beyond the city's limits. When a house needs a specialized tool to further its interests without arousing suspicion, it calls in a house agent. Using the tools of training and their sponsor, a house agent is a master infiltrator capable of insinuating themselves into the target's life and striking while the target's back is turned. Loyalty test. This is some suggestions for roleplay flavor for your and identity for your rogue subclass. Each house agent is required to prove their loyalty before their sponsor allows them into the inner circles of the organization. You can roll on one or choose a result from the house agent origins table to inspire the incident that made you a full-fledged member of your house. So option one, taking the fall for another person's crime and serving their jail sentence. Option two, assassinating a powerful political figure. Option three, renouncing all personal ties and worldly possessions and adopting a new identity. Option four, uncovering an incriminating secret about a member of another house. Option five, withstanding a torturous interrogation without divulging house secrets. And option six, sacrificing a family member for the benefit of your sponsor. Then we have a sidebar using other sponsors. Though this rogue is designed to work with the backing of a drow house of Menza Baranzan, a house agent might instead have the backing of another large group. They could belong to a Dorgar clan, a religious order, or a faction such as Brigandarth or the Zentarum. Or your rogue could have had multiple sponsors. Perhaps they first worked for a drow house, then defected to serve another cause. And if you've read any of the Drizzt Do'Urden books, you should be familiar with Menza Baranzan. Several of them occur in Menza Baranzan, and it is a very interesting and useful, insightful, in-depth exploration of this culture of the drow of Menza Baranzan in the Forgotten Realms, which is pretty cool. There's also Baldur's Gate 2. If you may not have played that one, and many of you probably played Baldur's Gate 3, but Baldur's Gate 2 actually goes into one of these places in the Underdark as well. It's not Menza Baranzan specifically. It's a different drow city, if I recall correctly. And Baldur's Gate 2 is a really awesome storyline as well. So is Baldur's Gate 1. All three of those have really great storylines. All right, so let's jump into the mechanics. Our first level 3 feature is House Insignia. You gain a magical token in the form of a brooch or coin that marks you as an agent for your sponsor that bears their heraldry. While you have this insignia, you can cast certain spells with it. Charisma is your spellcasting ability for spells you cast with your insignia. Cantrips, you learn the Friend's cantrip from Find Familiar. You can cast the Find Familiar spell, but only as a ritual. Your sponsor provides the material component for your first casting of the spell, and you must choose the spider form for your familiar. And there's no limitation on that, so it looks like you always have to choose spider for your familiar. Yeah, because it's not the first casting requires you to choose spider. It just says unqualified. You must choose spider form for your familiar, which is not a terrible form, but it's not one of the best forms. Then you have Insignia spells. When you reach a level specified in the Insignia spells table, you learn the listed spell. Once you cast a spell using your Insignia, you can't cast that spell again until you finish a long rest. We get to cast each of these spells once per long rest. So Charm Person, Suggestion, and Hypnotic Pattern at levels. So level 3, Charm Person, that's when you get your subclass. Level 5, Suggestion, that's when a half caster would get access to a second level spell like that. And level 9 for Hypnotic Pattern, that's when a half caster would get access to a third level spells. So you're getting access to these spells at the same levels that a half caster would get access to them, but you don't have the near the spell slot capacity or spell preparation options that a half caster does. So you're not a half caster. You're kind of I don't know. You're not even like a third caster because third casters have a lot more spell slots. It's just you get a few spells, and you get them at the speed that a half caster would get them. Losing your insignia. If you lose your insignia, your house finds a way to deliver you a new one, whether it is via a courier, a magical familiar, teleportation magic, or some other method. Your new insignia is delivered to you when you finish a long rest. Okay, that makes sense. And then also at level 3, we get Charming Presence. You can take the influence action as a bonus action. Nice, I do like that. And I've always wondered, why don't we have a feat that does that, right? We got Keen Mind that allows us to do that with a study action. And then we got Observant, which allows us to do that for the search action. So why didn't we get one for the influence action? Additionally, choose one of the following skills: Deception, Intimidation, Performance, or Persuasion, and you have proficiency in that skill. Pretty nice. And on rogues, getting another skill proficiency is a big deal. Probably, in my opinion, better than Expertise, because if you go to level 7, you get Reliable Talent, and Reliable Talent then kicks in with anything that you're proficient with, any skill that you're proficient with. And when you're proficient with a skill, then it makes the roll on the d20 a minimum of 10, which is a big deal, right? You don't usually need Expertise unless it's like a low ability score that you're rolling with. So you don't usually need Expertise in order to get like a 15 or higher pretty easily at that point, right? Your proficiency bonus is a 3. A minimum roll of 10 means your minimum roll is a 13, and that's if you have a 10 in that ability score. So if you just have a 14 in that ability score, your minimum roll is a 15, which will beat a lot of DCs out there. So yeah, it's good to get another skill proficiency on a rogue. I have to say, I think this is weak at level 3. Even though I like it, I like the idea, I like the flavor and the ideas. Like what you're getting at level 3 is the Friends cantrip, Find Familiar, only spider version as a ritual, Charm Person, which is a bad spell. Conceptually, Charm Person's awesome. It just doesn't function well for what it's supposed to do. And then you get a skill proficiency, and you can take the influence action as a bonus action. That is not a strong package at level 3. Like the spider doesn't have very good movement. If I recall correctly, it's got a movement speed of like 20. So you can't even do like the thing that you do with your owl, where the owl runs in, takes the help action, so you can then have advantage on your attack against that target. Like, because the owl has flyby, it's got 60-foot movement speed, so it has plenty of movement to fly in, take the help action against the enemy, and then fly away. Your spider can't do that. It's going to run in and then 20 feet and then take the help action, and if it moves away, it gets an opportunity attack and it will probably die. So your spider is going to be like a scouting thing for you. Friends cantrip is a cool idea, but not a good one. And it only like works really well if you have like the disguise self spell, because then you could be disguising yourself, use friends, because then they're going to be hostile to you after the 1 minute ends from your friends cantrip. But if you're disguised, then they're just going to be hostile towards the disguised version of you, not the real you. And you don't get the disguise self. Like they should have given you disguise self at level 3. You like just complete the package and make that work. Yeah. I think this is subpar at level 3. Now it definitely catches up at level 5 and 9. And this actually does one thing that many people complain about with the rogue, which is rogues don't get another feature between levels 3 and 9. And that is a long time to go without getting something from your subclass. So this one gives you another feature at level 5 through that table, which is a suggestion spell. And that is a really good spell, unlike Charm Person, which is a really bad spell. So level 5, you'll probably feel solid, right? So level 5, I think you have a solid package. And then by level 9, with Hypnotic Pattern coming online, that is a really strong control spell. So yeah. And then we're going to have our level 9 feature, which is Backstab, which was what Sneak Attack used to be called for thieves, because there wasn't the rogue base class in 1st and 2nd edition. It was the thief, and Backstab was the feature. Or was that the assassin had Backstab? I think assassin had poisons on top of Backstab. All right, so you have advantage on attack rolls against creatures within 5 feet of you, 5 feet of you that are friendly to you or have the charm condition. Okay, so I guess that works with all of our spells now, because all 3 of the spells we have from that spell table right here, Charm Person, Suggestion, and Hypnotic Pattern, they all cause the charmed condition. Okay, so that automatically gives you advantage on the attack roll. If you have, right, that might incentivize you to get that feat from Astarian's Book of Hungers that allows you to like charm somebody when you stab them once. So now that will synergize with this, so that if you attack again, then they're going to be charmed, and then you'd have advantage. So that's a cool idea. Then you get an additional Cunning Strike option, which is pretty common at level 9 now, although the Phantom Rogue didn't get it, and I think that's a huge miss. So our new Cunning Strike option is Stunning Betrayal. It costs 4d6 sneak attack dice. If your target was friendly to you or had the charm condition, when you hit, the target has the stun condition until the start of your next turn. So this would synergize pretty well with your Backstab. So you're going to have advantage on the attack roll. You're going to dump 4d6 of your sneak attack, which is half, right? You're going to have, no, not half, 80% of your sneak attack dice. Because at level 9, you're going to have 5 sneak attack dice, and you have to dump 4 of them. So you're going to do 1d6 damage with a sneak attack, but then stun them till the start of your next turn. I don't know if that's a good trade-off. It really depends on how many marshals you have in the party, other people who are going to benefit from having advantage on that attack roll, or if the target was like concentrating on a spell and you really just need to stop it and you can't break their concentration, the stun condition will automatically break their concentration. There's no saving throw against that stun condition. I don't know. That seems overly expensive to me. And I think that the Cunning Strike options that they gave to the Rogue base class is very cool, a very cool idea. I think that they need to tweak the design of the Rogue base class. And here's what I would do to make Cunning Strike work better and make the whole Rogue situation better, right? Because a rogue, if you don't weaponize a reaction, is a subpar DPR, like damage per round, as a marshal. And if you weaponize their reaction so they can attack with it, they can actually become much better than other marshals, dealing way more damage. So here's how I would solve it. At levels 5, 11, and 17, which are levels where the regular marshals or all the rest of the marshals are typically getting big increases in their DPR, you do not have that. You have this very steady sneak attack increase, and you never get more than one attack. What I would do is at levels 5, 9, and 17, I would give them 3 more sneak attack dice. Not 3 instead of 1, I mean 3 more. So you'd get 4 additional sneak attack at level 5, 4 additional sneak attack dice at level 11, and 4 additional sneak attack dice at level 17. Then I would make sneak attack once per round, right? So yeah, you may want to weaponize your reaction or not, but you're not like, you don't feel like you have to, because the only reason to do that is if you missed during your turn. And then you can sneak attack as your reaction. But sneak attack would be then once per round, and then you would have a lot more dice, and you would do more damage more consistently with it. And those more dice would help pay for your cunning strike options as well. That's what I would do. It would be simpler, more consistent, and you wouldn't have like the feat tax of getting Zentarm Tactics and the Sentinel and those other reaction style feats to weaponize your reaction. All right. Anyway, that's not what we're here for. Level 13, Infiltration Partner. The familiar you have through the Find Familiar spell gains Dark Vision with a range of 120 feet and True Sight with a range of 30 feet. Additionally, when you cast a Find Familiar spell or finish a short or long rest while you have a familiar, you get your familiar temporary hit points equal to your rogue level. Okay. It's definitely going to need that because that spider probably has like 1 hit point. I don't know that temporary hit points equal to your rogue level is going to be enough to really help, though. Like, great. What it really needs is is called the agile trait that some monsters have, which is the equivalent of flyby, but for your walking speed, where they can run in, take the help action, and run out. And your spider just doesn't have a great movement speed, and it doesn't have any way to do that. What they should have given it was agile and like quadrupled or tripled its movement speed. So it'd have a 60-foot movement speed and agile. That would have been a lot better than giving it temporary hit points. Because otherwise, like, what is your familiar doing on the battlefield if it's not taking the help action? It can't attack. Now, you can see through its eyes, and they did change Find Familiar, the spell, so you can see through its eyes without like going blind yourself. I think it still takes your bonus action, though. I'd have to double check that. So that essentially gives you True Sight with a range of 30 feet and Dark Vision with a range of 120 feet. So that first part is pretty nice. All that's really going to do is just give you some better vision. So let's see what else we get at level 13. Silver Tongue. A creature's hostile attitude doesn't impose disadvantage on your charisma checks to influence that creature. Okay. That's okay. Not great. So I don't think we're doing well at level 13 at all. Yeah. All right, level 17, Subtle Manipulator. You gain the following Cunning Strike option. Confound, 5d6, so another Cunning Strike option, even more expensive. The target must succeed on a Wisdom saving throw with a DC equal to your spellcasting DC or have the Charm condition for 1 minute. The target can repeat the save when it takes any damage, ending the effect on itself on success. So it's not auto break on it when they take damage, but they get to repeat the save. Additionally, you can cast a Friend spell as a bonus action. The target no longer automatically succeeds on the saving throw if it isn't a humanoid or if you're fighting it. Okay, it needed that. Otherwise, this is useless in combat. Finally, when a spell you cast that gives a target the charm condition ends, the target doesn't know it was charmed by you. Okay, great. So that helps charm person and the friend's cantrips. If you were to multi-class and pick up or take feats that give you like spells that cause a charm condition other ways, like that could apply to other things. I don't know that it applies. Many of them say that. I think it's just friends, charm person, charm monster. I don't think any of the others say that they know that they were charmed by you. I think it's just those 3. So, and you can't get Charm Monster. That's level 4. Yeah, I think that's level 4. So, I don't think there's any way to get that without multi-classing. And then the only way to get that with multi-classing would go to 7 levels with a full caster. And then if you did that, you would not be a level 17 rogue. So don't worry about trying to get Charm Monster. But the ability to cast friends and remove the humanoid restriction and the if you're fighting it, the auto succeed restriction, that's actually pretty good. That way you can bonus action friends them, and then that'll activate your stunning betrayal. You're like, oh look, we're friends, and then stab them as your action, same turn. Yeah, they would give you advantage on the attack roll. Activate your stunning betrayal that would allow you to literally stun them. I mean, you still have a bonus action that you can use for steady aim already. So it's not like it's a lot more powerful than that. It is a little better because using steady aim sets your movement speed to 0, and you can only use it if you haven't moved yet. So basically, you just can't move that whole turn. So you get this way, you can use friends to give yourself advantage on the attack roll without having to lock yourself in place. That's really what it's doing for you. It's like steady aim, but you no longer have to be stuck in place, which is like what the assassin rogue gets at level 9. And this is something you're getting at level 17. And causing them to have the charm condition for 1 minute after you landed your sneak attack isn't going to help you a ton because you already used your sneak attack this turn. The only way you're going to benefit from that is if they still have it when you make a reaction attack against them potentially, or if they still have it when your turn comes around again, then you would automatically have advantage and you'd stab them and get your sneak attack because you had advantage on the attack roll from your backstab, and then, try to activate Stunning Betrayal if you want to, and then they're stunned. I mean, so these things kind of synergize together. They're just not synergizing together enough to be powerful. I think this one is a very cool idea, very fun, but I think you're going to feel underpowered. You're going to be different than most rogues, right? You're going to be doing a lot more charming and talking your way in and out of things, I guess, better than most rogues would do. The thing is about that Silver Tongue, right? Having disadvantage on a charisma check doesn't hurt you that much because you have reliable talent. So your minimum roll is a 10 anyway. So if you're going to use an ability and if you're going to use a charisma check, you're going to use one that you're proficient in. So you're going to have reliable talent. You're going to have your modifier on it. Maybe and this is a charisma based subclass. So you want charisma to be your like secondary ability score. So it should be like a 14 or 16. That means your minimum roll at level 13, when your proficiency bonus is a 5, will be 10 plus 5 plus, let's say, 2 from your charisma because you have a 14 charisma score. Your minimum roll is a 17. And even with a disadvantage, like there's nothing that disadvantage can do to you to drop your roll below a 17 on that charisma check. So this Silver Tongue is doing very little to help you. Like, yeah, removing disadvantage from a skill you're proficient in on a rogue just doesn't do much because of reliable talent and how reliable talent works. So there's a lot of cool ideas, but these things are just not coming together in a way that's going to make you feel powerful. And I don't, like I've said before, I don't care about being the most powerful or optimized power. Like, I don't care about that. What I care about for my players is that the build you're playing feels impactful, feels like you're making a difference and you're contributing to the party. That's what's needed for you to have fun, or that's half the formula to have fun. The other half of the formula to have fun is you lean into the role play. So what I like to see is subclasses that, without a lot of extra work or like optimization, backflips and shenanigans to make this thing feel impactful, it should just out of the box work well, be solid, be a good contributor. Doesn't have to be the best anywhere, everywhere, or anything like that. Just be effective. And I don't think this thing meets that bar. This is like a C or a B. Hypnotic Pattern is good. You're going to cast it once per long rest, right? Suggestion is good. You're going to cast it once per long rest. And you're going to give up your action to do so, right? Which means you didn't attack and you didn't land your sneak attack that round. So you're going to be giving up all of your damage to cast a spell that like other casters in the party have been able to cast for a long time, and they're going to do it multiple times. You're going to do it once, each of those spells once. Yeah, I just don't think this is enough. As much as I want to give them the benefit of the doubt, I feel like this is a C plus. I'd give this a C plus, maybe a B minus, depending on the campaign. Yeah, this needs more work. This needs a lot of work. Okay, that's it for this one. Thanks for watching. I hope it helped. If you don't have enough D&D in your life, remember, you can check the video description. There's a link to join my Discord, just a community of people who love talking about D&D. There is a link to Caius's monster data that I reference regularly about, how many monsters are resistant or immune to different things. There's a link to my DSR rules document, Google Doc, that has the rulings, the homebrew stuff that I do, the here's how I run and make these things work together kind of stuff, which I don't really consider homebrew. I consider it more like fixing stuff that's already part of the game to just make it work well together, like bastions and downtime and crafting. That's probably like the biggest part of it. And factions, those 4 things are probably the biggest part of that. And finally, there's a link to the Google Drive that has all of these Google Sheets in it that have all these ratings in there. And all those things have no paywall. You can just access them directly. Just go to that link and use it. That's why I created it. They are meant as community resources to help people get into D&D easier, to get into having fun and playing D&D and spending less time building characters. unless that's what you enjoy doing, right? A lot of us do enjoy making characters. There's a limit though on how many times, like how much time you want to spend building a character versus actually playing D&D, right? So yeah, this is meant to help. So I hope they do help. Yeah, there is a link to join my Patreon as well. And a big shout out to all my Patreon members. Thank you all so much, especially the frontliners and the Artificer tier Patreons. You guys are awesome. I appreciate you. I couldn't do this without you. So thank you. And, big thanks to everyone who chooses to support in that way. And if it doesn't make sense for you to support in that way, then that's okay. Don't worry about it. Just like, subscribe, commenting, and watching videos is a great way to support. So thank you for any way that you choose to support. You're awesome. And finally, remember that D&D is a game. Yeah, the point of it is to have fun with your friends. So please be cool when you play D&D, all right? Okay, catch you next time.